Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about some of these Hasbro reveals. We're going to talk about what was officially revealed, what was unofficially revealed, and a little speculation on the future. This is mostly surrounding the Bumblebee movie characters, the good and the bad of these releases, these reveals, and what's to come, and what possibly could also come down the pipeline based on some of these rumor lists that we've seen. We're going to talk about this and more coming up. Before we get into all this fun stuff, I do want to say today is the day. Today is the 11/11 sale at Shozi Store. And the thing about this is you're going to be getting 5% back on your rewards for every dollar you spend. So you spend $100, you get $5 that you could instantly use on your next purchase, even in the same day, and all that good stuff. Now there's going to be a whole lot of coupons coming up, flash sales, and all kinds of fun stuff. The sale is going to be running from, well, it's going on right now, and it's going to be going on till about noon on Friday. It says 1 p.m. Friday, but I just say be safe, noon on Friday. Depending on where you live, I would just be safe in noon. Anyway, you do have the coupons of like 20 off 500, 25 off 600, and those kinds of things. They also stack with your 5% back and all that good stuff. But one of the things that I've done is I've kind of held off 3 purchases I was going to make about 3 or 4 days ago. Held them off till today. I'm going to do it all today. And I'm going to bang a little bit of extra bucks, get a little more mileage out of my dollar. Just letting y'all know about this. Alright, so what all did Hasbro officially reveal just recently? Well, they did reveal the Bumblebee version of Soundwave, and there's some good and some bad with this. The problem with this, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing, is that there really was no alt mode. There's no alt mode. There's just the bot designs for this character here, starting with the Soundwave. Now, I do think the bot looks pretty good, and for the most part, that's all I really needed for. I kind of was hoping he'd turn into a boombox, but he turns into a sled, I guess. It's an interesting kind of thing. It's almost like a cross between other things that Soundwave turned into that were not a cassette player, a Sony Walkman kind of deal. But with that, I do want to do a few things with this. I do want to kind of put them next to what I've got. I've got some screenshots that we can compare next to and kind of get an idea. So here's a screenshot right here, and one of the things that I'm noticing is that it seems like the silver is more of a gray, and it seems like to me that it's just going to be not very shiny. Like, I view all of these figures as being very shiny, and we're going to see that going forward with more characters. This one doesn't show it as much, but I don't feel we're going to have the sheen on this that I would like to see. And that's kind of just Hasbro thing, Hasbro plastic, and the way it goes. Now, aside from that, it does look pretty good, though. It is sort of true to form. It sort of matches it. And when you look at this as being a $30 or $33 toy versus when all the other third-party options are up there in price, you know, pushing $100, even depending on the size there, this is a pretty good option for only about $30. Now, the alt mode, not so great. But with this one, I think it looks pretty good. I probably will pick it up just because I like Soundwave. No, it does not look better than what Fans Toys just put out. Fans Toys looks way better than that. Anyway, so looking at this one here, we have Ratchet, and this is a deluxe class Ratchet, so $22.99 price point. And it looks okay. You do see with this one the classic waffling on the inside of the thighs. You've got the just hollowness in the forearm and all that kind of stuff. And it's Ratchet. So there's some question about a few things with this, like the alt mode, of course, is made up, and they're just pulling it out of thin air. But are they? Is there any reuse to this at all whatsoever? I mean, I'm trying to figure that part out. But I think the biggest, most important part is how does the bot mode stack up to what we saw in the movie, the first 4 minutes of the movie. Now, it's really hard to get some stills of full body, so we just kind of more or less have the upper body in it. So looking at the upper body, upper torso and stuff, a lot of things, the shoulders, the head, the forearms, and all that stuff match. I really can't 100% tell if the chest matches well, but I'm going to take their word for it. I know the abdomen area kind of looks right. So a lot of this does match it very well. And so if you're looking for a budget, affordable Bumblebee movie representation, I think this is going to work. I actually do think it works. For the alt mode, again, it's made up. It's something that we just really don't know what it's supposed to look like. and it does kind of sort of match the aesthetic we saw with the one car, the Bumblebee. Okay, so next up on the list here is Brawn, and I think out of all of them, this is one my favorite. I think it looks good, and I kind of felt the same way when we were watching the movie. When I saw the Bumblebee movie, and I was like, out of all of the designs, I felt Brawn matched the G1-esque look the best, with a little bit of a modern update and modern take to it. Now the alt mode, again, is something else that's just made up out of thin air. In my mind, I kind of think like it looks like a Halo vehicle to me, but I don't hate it. I'm not mad at it or anything. I think it looks okay. It looks all right. It works. But let's see how this stacks up to the show. And so I really think they did a very good job matching this up. And this is one of those things where I don't think that this was a toy was already in mind and then they made the 3D render models. I think it was the other way around. This was just an artist rendition of, hey, well, this is what these characters look like, and then they had to make a toy based off of it, and they did a really good job, in my opinion. Now, the knees look kind of hollowed out, and probably the inside of the arms are going to be hollowed out and all that kind of stuff, but looking at it side by side, I think this one is the closest, in my opinion. I like it the most. But the other thing is, though, this one does kind of start showing that there's not as much sheen to it as I would expect, that I would like. And it's just really things like these are super painted up. Light reflects off of them really well in the movie, but we're not going to get that with a real toy. But I mean, $22.99, it's not bad. All right, so next up we got Jackie, or other known as Wheeljack, and so this one I have a couple of issues with. So we'll talk about it first. I think that it looks kind of like you'd expect with a Wheeljack, Cybertronian Wheeljack. And I really liked the one they made before, the more G1-esque, but that's not what they were going for with this. So it actually makes me kind of happy that I have the other one, because this one doesn't fit the bill for me as much. But looking at the alt mode, we recycled this alt mode. So this is a recycled alt mode, and it's a recycled mode. Before we do the comparisons, I do want to get into this alt mode a little bit. Now, this picture was provided by the Hasbro official pre-announcement group. The pre. Okay, anyway. So this shows that it's a reuse of, well, their Bumblebee and their Cliffjumper mold, which, I don't know. Have they actually been officially revealed? I don't even know if those have been officially revealed yet or not. But as you can see, there's a lot of similarities between these, and looking at that, that's what you see right there. I don't like that. And here's why I don't like that, because this is what I expected to see. I expected to see this, and we got that, and maybe I'm wrong. Okay, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance I'm wrong. My expectations are unacceptable, and I'm wrong, but we talked about Cybertronian version of Wheeljack. We never got it. I thought this was, well, they're in the Bumblebee movie. This is in the 80s, and they're on Cybertron, and this is a Cybertronian mode that we already have in history. Why couldn't we match it? That's what I expected. That's what I thought would happen. I bet the farm on it, and I lost. But anyway, let's get into a comparison now. Now, this is the best picture I could get myself. I didn't know if anyone else got a better picture. So we really only have more or less the upper body on this, and the angles don't match up very well. So, not a whole lot to really compare and contrast to. But what I do see matches the figure pretty well. I don't know about the shoulder pieces, the silver shoulder pieces in the movie. I don't see that translated over here. But again, it's a strange angle. But more or less, I think Hasbro probably got better pictures than we did, or than I have access to. So it probably matches a lot closer. But it looks a lot like the movie. The bot is okay. The alt mode, in my opinion, should have been Cybertronian. So, alright, we're getting into the core class Ravage, and I don't have a movie picture to compare it to, so we're just going to talk about this one. But I am a Ravage fanatic, and I think I pretty much buy every Ravage that's out there. And so, I like this one. I think it still looks really good for a Ravage, and the thing that makes this look good, or better than a lot of the ones Hasbro makes, is that it's not going to turn into a set, it's going to turn into a cube. Like all those other cube Transformers, I think they've recently put out, a company's made a cube Voltron and all that kind of stuff. So this is a cube. It'll go with your whole cube set. And I start to wonder, is Hasbro watching third-party and all the third-party cube phenomenon that's going on? Or is this a throwback to something? But still, it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty interesting. I like Ravage. It's good. It's good. It's probably one of the best ones that Hasbro's made. I won't know till I get my hands on it, though. Then we got a core class Shockwave. So we're kind of going back to the whole cast going to be made in the 4-inch scale. Okay, you can integrate this with your Legends figures on your Legends shelf for $9.99, and so that's okay. That's pretty good. But for $9.99, it's really detailed for that small and for the price point and all of that. And it turns into some sort of a tank. Now, I start to wonder with this if there's going to be fan modes to turn it into something that look like a gun. And, oh, pew. Is it, I have to say pew? I can't say gun. Okay, so turn it into a pew. The thing about it is people always come up with stuff like that. I've seen people do stuff like that. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with that, because I'm sure somebody somewhere is going to pull it off. So let's look at this one-eyed son of a gun here. Thing about this, it's son of a gun, you know, son of a gun. Okay, so with this, he is darker in the movie than he is on the toy. And now that I look at it, the toy almost looks lavender, like Lavender Wave, versus purple like in the movie. I like the deeper, darker purple on this character. That is my favorite color or tone for this character, so looking at that. But aside from that, a lot of it looks pretty good. The thighs kind of stand out to me as being a little bit off. There's a little bit more going on the thighs for the toy than there is for the actual movie, and I would think it would be a whole lot easier to make it match the movie and all that kind of stuff. But aside from that, the rest of it still looks pretty good overall. Kind of like the aesthetic of it, and I kind of think that we're going to be getting probably a Voyager version of him. I hope we do. I think we will, and we should. I'd be excited for that. So lastly, we got a little bit of speculation on what else is coming in. An RC. I really think we've heard a lot of rumors of another RC. They said a Kingdom RC, probably a Studio Series RC. Hopefully we get a nice looking version of RC for this, but I feel it'll be extra, super extra kibbly. And here's the thing, you don't got to make up an alt mode, make her look like an RC alt mode. So I'm curious how that's going to go, how they're going to go about it, what's going on, but we're getting at least one more, if not two more versions of RC coming, and it's already been on the official rumored list. We already know, unofficially pre-announced that we're getting the Cliffjumper and the Bumblebee and all that kind of stuff. So we already know what that stuff looks like. So yeah, there it is. And if you want to know what these pre-unofficial bot modes of Bumblebee and Cliffjumper look like, let's take a look at that. Here's the pre-announced unofficially of Cliffjumper and Bumblebee. I gotta say that the legs are just like a giant open mess. It's like a see-through figure. And aside from that, the upper body matches what we see in the movie. So the upper body looks good, the lower body looks like a bit of a mess. And past that, they did the same thing with the Cybertronian version of Bumblebee. I really wished that thing had a couple more folds to condense down that leg a little bit better. Same here, but of course that costs more money, and that would put it into like a Voyager price point, and they just can't do that, I guess. So there are some problems with upcoming figures. So when they officially release this, you'll already have an idea what to say. So let me know what you guys think about these reveals, what's been going on with this. Have you already decided you're going to be in on these? Are you out on these? Is this scratching that itch, or is there something you want to stay away from? I think that I'm going to pick and choose these. I don't think I'm going to buy all of them. I'm going to buy one or two. I'm not 100% in on them. But again, I'm not hating them either. I think there's some good here. I think there's some bad here. And overall, I kind of like that they're doing it. And I like that they're keeping one toe in G1 while checking out some other areas, some other eras of Transformers. Like, subscribe, Teddy Ram Hanger, out.